Day 1595. Thursday, Union Day, and today was all right. Bit of a low key one. There wasn't a whole heap going on. Because obviously we had our thing last week, the voting on the motions for the GEC conference that's coming up, or I think has maybe already happened this week. Yeah, I think it's happened this week actually. Yeah, man. So after all of that, things have kind of tapered off a little bit. Flip, and I've just remembered there was a couple of people I was supposed to call today, which I didn't. Oh, damn it. All right, maybe tomorrow. Could possibly do tonight, but maybe tomorrow. Anywho. Yeah, so things are not going to be as busy as they have been. So yeah, today was a pretty low-key day, but cool, man. It was cool. To be honest, really good thing I wasn't out and I was up at home because the weather was atrocious. Oh my lord. 1 minute it's sunny, next minute it's raining, next minute it's sunny, next minute it's hail, next minute it's sunny, next minute it's drizzling. Oh man, bruv. At one point, a big old sunshine was out, but yeah, it was still pissing down with rain. It's just, don't take the mick, please, man, please. The weather in this country is a joke. It's an actual joke. It's no wonder people get sick. And on top of that, it's still in line with sickness. And again, in my very unscientific, non-evidence backed or based opinion, I reckon it's probably why so many people in this, or at least, sorry, not the sole reason, but this could be very much be a contributory factor as to why so many people in this country have joint issues. Because I would even argue it might even be better if it was just constantly cold in this country, but the problem is it's just always fluctuating. Like, it's just never one thing. It's always constantly in a state of flux. So it's like the body can never flip and adjust. I've lived here my whole life and I'm not used to this weather because the weather's always changing, like someone with flipping bloody manic depression or ADHD or someone who's got multiple personality disorder. What was it? Dissociative personality disorder, I think it's called, the technical term. Yeah, man, just, in my mind, it's no wonder why you have so many people with joint issues, you know, like mad inflammation and arthritis and all of that jazz, you know? The body's probably like, what the hell is going on? Help! Flip, man, come on, bruv, come on. But yeah, anyways, I was indoors, so I guess I didn't have to experience the elements. It was just onlooking in disgust. On the politics front, Wes Streeting, I don't know if I mentioned this was it yesterday? Or was it today? I feel like it was today. Wes Streeting has officially resigned, the health secretary. Some people think it might be him vying, you know, gearing up to put in his bid, throw his hat into the ring or arena to kind of vie for the leadership, or as I've been calling it, the Labourship. Yeah, bloody calling it that all day, man. But yeah, vying for the Labourship to try and become next PM. Also, King of the North, Mr. Andy Burnham, apparently the latest in for him is that he is going to be trying to become, basically going to try and become it's an MP for a certain area. I think it's either in or around Manchester, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly where it is. But an MP for that area, which will then allow him to become an MP back here in London, in Parliament. which would then mean he would then have a chance to throw his hat into the ring for the Labourship, the Labourship bid. Yeah, if he's not, but again, I think that place there, Reform is going to be going for it as well. And apparently, I think Nigel Farage, I think I saw a tweet saying they're going to be throwing everything they can at this, because obviously I think they know how popular Andy Burnham has been, and they don't want Labour to bounce back. You know, they don't want Labour to have a shot at, you know, remaining in power, or at the very least remaining strong whilst they're in power. So I think that there is a great deal of fear if Andy Burnham gets it. I mean, there's a whole heap of hurdles that he needs to jump through, because obviously he needs to go and get that position. Then he would need to get the approval of people in Westminster to even be put forward, and there's a lot of hurdles. So it's not a sure bet for him. But the saga continues, and I'm currently watching Question Time, which I already saw earlier on. They're just doing a repeat, but it's the drama of Westminster and politics, boy. Oh my lord. Gotten more and more into it as the years have progressed, because I think the older you get, the more you realise that, you know, politics, it really, it's all encompassing, man, and it affects every area of your life. Healthcare, your finances, the social care, your job prospects, all of it, you know. It's and even though I may have only mentioned a few things, you could widen each of those up, and there are 5 million other things that fall underneath those broad umbrellas, you know. But yeah, it's politics. It's all encompassing, man. That stuff I was talking about yesterday, which I probably should expand on. I guess I could briefly touch on it, because I was running out of time yesterday. With regards, the post. So the Instagram post, basically, a woman who's earning like 240 plus thousand, 245, I think. And I think I checked, because I do follow her on Instagram. I haven't seen her post for a while, but she basically said how much she was taxed. I think so. Her gross was 245,000 for the year. That was her gross. And HMRC ended up taking 90 grand off the bat from that, because obviously she's a high earner. And she basically put that post up, and there are a lot of people who are being less than complimentary, basically saying, yo, you're earning a whole load, please stop whining, please, I beg you. And I think what I was saying, to continue on from yesterday, is that I think I sit in two camps. Basically, I understand why certain people are complaining, not to even justify what certain people are saying, but I can understand certain feelings, because when it comes to people who earn a certain amount, I think for those who are earning less, it is very much automatically an us versus them mindset that kind of kicks in. And it's funny, because there were other people who were obviously congratulating her, you know, and saying, you know, big up for earning so much, and yeah, we hear you, we feel your pain too. And I think an interesting point that's brought up is that, well, you know, wouldn't you want to earn more money? And, you know, just because you're earning more money, it doesn't mean that you can't automatically not feel slighted or even not complain. But then also on the flip side, I would say, well, of course you can do whatever you want, but people in reaction to that can also do what they want. And if you're going to complain, they can push back and also say, well, shut up, you know? And would they be right in saying that? I mean, I'm not sure I'd say they were right. Just more, I can understand, just because I think we're so used to seeing those who earn a good amount, great amount, an exorbitant amount, and them just being so far removed from the quote-unquote regular, normal people. You know, obviously not everyone, obviously, but I think particularly in this society where things are just super, super polarized now, it's like the moment you earn a certain amount, you're automatically looked at as the enemy. And it shouldn't be like that because pretty much all of us want to earn more money. You'd be hard pressed to find someone who doesn't want to earn more money. Now, granted, it's nuanced because not everyone wants to earn the same amount. There are some who might just be perfectly content with earning an extra 20, 30 grand. And you've got those who, you know, six figures or nothing. And then those who want to be millionaire, multimillionaire, maybe even billionaire status, you know. Obviously, billionaire, that's crazy money. But, you know, it's. And I don't know if it's a UK mentality type of thing whereby, and I've spoken about this with, you know, I'm sure more than one of my, yeah, I've spoken about this with a number of people, but particularly one of my friends who I often have this conversation with because they started up their own business and, you know, they're definitely doing well. Not six figures well, but they're working towards it. And they have massive dreams, big old dreams, which I would always encourage. And we often talk about the differences in culture between the clients that they have in terms of their UK clients or UK people that they've come across versus their US clients or US people that they've come across. And the US seems to be more encouraging of really big dreams, whereby the UK is just like, pipe down, please. Okay, don't speak too loud. Don't make yourself too big. Don't celebrate or big yourself up too much. And that type of culture seemed very reminiscent of the comments that I saw popping up on this girl's carousel, talking about how much she earned in her tax. And it's a tricky one because, again, if you were to come up to the average person in the street and say, yo, listen, not only am I going to give you a chunk of money, but I'm going to continuously give you a chunk of money every single month. And it was a life-changing amount of money. Bearing in mind, life-changing is different to each and every person. You probably find 0.01% of people who would say no, provided obviously they knew there was no catch, and let's just assume there's no catch and you're just one of the lucky ones, yeah? Most people are not going to say no to that. But then, of course, if it now puts them in a different tax bracket where they're being taxed at a whole heap, most people will have something to say. Now, again, not everyone, and some will probably maybe feel away but just not vocalize anything. They'll be like, oh, you know what? I don't like that they're taking 40% of my money, but you know what? I'm just going to put up and shut up. You know, I'm earning a whole heap of money. I'm just happy with what I'm getting. So I think people ultimately fall into different camps, but it's an interesting conversation and it's a nuanced conversation. And I think you need to look at it from multiple perspectives because it very much seemed to be from the people who, let's just call it the poor people and the rich people, just to keep it nice and black and white, even though it's really not that, but just for the sake of ease. Like, you had the poor people, by the way, that's me in that. At least I'm in that group. I don't necessarily share the same views, but I would consider myself part of the poor group because I'm poor, bruv. Not super poor, but compared to others. But yeah, you had people in the poor who were just like, oh, boo-hoo, cry me a river. Shut up. Even after that tax is taken, you're still living way better than me, my family, near enough anyone that I know. So just, if you're expecting sympathy, you ain't getting it here. Cry me a river. But then you had people on the other side who, the rich people, who were like, oh, look at these people, just jealous, man. And even I saw certain people getting into it, like the back and forths in the comments, like a person would be saying, oh, shut up, and then another person who earns money being like, oh, you're flipping jealous, and look at you, look at this crabs in the barrel mentality in the UK, this is why the UK's bad vibes, and, you know, we don't encourage entrepreneurship enough, and all of that is true, but I think, again, this is what I'm saying, it's nuance. Like, I think you need to listen to, rather than just write, and it's funny because I'm using black and white examples, ironic, But it is nuanced, and I think you need to take into account multiple points of view and try and meet in some type of a middle ground, because that's not what's happening. It is being turned into a very black and white issue. Either
Sure, but this is an agreement. Let's act like it could go through.
you are lucky and fortunate or
Full
entitled
proper
and
research
you
of
need
the
to shut up,
properly delivered
or
independence, including
you're
in those
jealous,
crucial sectors that
envious,
support our farmers
and
and our growers.
you're a
And by the way,
brokey and you just need to get
Northern Ireland as
lost.
well
Like
has been
it's
shamelessly left out of
I
the
mean,
deal.
those can
So I'm
also
not
be true, but
satisfied with the deal
I
that's been
think
put
it's
together,
a
because
bit more
ultimately we're going to
convoluted,
get the
and
worst
it
of all worlds, which is
lies
both sides
somewhere
making the
swirling in the
United Kingdom into a
middle.
rule
I
taker,
think
a
that would
colony
be
in the
my
EU where
opinion.
Northern Ireland is
That's
at the
even
moment.
much of an
That is not the
opinion.
future for us that we should want.
But I think there needs to be a bit more understand. Essentially, what I'm saying is there needs to be a bit more understanding on both sides, rather than just, because what I see is the two sides just writing one another off. That is what I see, and it shouldn't be that. But then going back onto the poor side, my side, again, I can understand, because whilst it's a funny thing that we would all ideally like to scale those heights of that mountain and be earning money, most of us haven't, don't, maybe even won't. And I think there's a lot of, it's misunderstanding a lot of stuff, or a lot of misconceptions, or certain misconceptions I guess. Even talk, because I have a friend who earns six figures, I think around the same amount actually. And even things like, I think I touched on yesterday, like how your standard of living goes up quite often. Not all the time with all the people, but quite often, if you're earning more money, the standard of your living is going to go up. Like I said, you're probably going to go on anywhere from more holidays to almost definitely better holidays. You're probably going to be buying better food. You're probably going to either live in a nicer area, or buy a nicer house, or even do up the house. You might get private healthcare. You might be helping out people. You might give to charity more. There's something else I was going to say. Shoot. I forget. If you have a flipping family, like the biggest one, you're obviously going to be spending on your husband, wife, partner, and kids. One of the biggest one. If you have a child, which is expensive enough, childcare costs, sending it, like you might send them to a private school. Those things are money. So, the standard of living ultimately goes up. Now, of course, there is the whole thing of spending within your means, and that's a whole other topic, because there are plenty of rich people out there who end up broke at the end of the month because they ain't managing their money well and spending beyond their means. But yeah, that's a whole separate convo. But yeah, man, I just think more nuance needs to happen. So there needs to be more understanding on both sides. Obviously, it's a lot more difficult on the poor side, as opposed to the rich side, because there are, and again, not every rich person, but I think in terms of rich people, I think maybe proportion-wise, you may find there are more rich people who have been over on the poor side, or, in terms of they started out there, or they've ended up there because they've lost everything, compared to people who've been on the poor side going over to the rich side. Am I wording that right? Hopefully you get what I'm saying. I probably didn't word that right, but I think you get what I'm saying. Like, yeah, so basically, those who are rich, I'm sure there's more there who understand what it's like not to have money. There are a lot more self-made people, and a lot of people who've maybe had it gifted to them and then they've lost everything and then they've had to make it back. So yeah, man, there needs to be more empathy on both sides, but it's challenging. It is challenging. I did make a point about how I think it's probably a bit of a blessing that there are certain people who didn't have everything, or whether that's money or fame or whatever, because it might have brought out the worst in them. not everyone should have a great deal of money because, again, a bad person without money is a horrendous person with money, I would imagine. Diddy being a prime example. I did make mention about the height thing. Now, just to briefly expand on that, so short, me, I is short. And one of the things I do always wonder, because I'm not super confident, you know, particularly when it comes to the fair sex, and seeing how important height is of a factor with regards to even just like attraction, for example, and even confidence. Obviously, there are loads of big, tall people who aren't confident, but there are those who they have that and automatically confidence is on 100, or there's more confidence there just because, you know, certain people look at them and hold them in a certain regard. I do always wonder for myself, if I was gifted with and I won't say money because I think I will do all right, perhaps even bloody well with a lot of money. But with the height thing, if I was someone who, because I consider myself, you know, pretty, I try to be humble, relatively low key, and, you know, yeah, I do my thing. I wouldn't consider myself an arse, not usually. You know, cool dude, yeah? Self-confess, cool dude, I'll give myself that. I do always wonder if I was gifted with height, which I've craved my whole life, if I would be the same person, or would I be a complete and utter arse? And I don't know. I don't actually know. Maybe I would have been an absolute terror if I was born with the height, because I don't think this is a horrendous looking face. It could be a lot better. I need to sort out these and that, and maybe these. Maybe. I've looked better, let's put it that way, but I don't think this is horrible. I think it's decent, it's decent. But if maybe I was a bit bulkier, which we can rectify, but if I had the height, one of the big insecurities, if I had that, I don't know how much of an horrendous person I may have been. Even if we're just talking solely on the male-female dynamic front, I really don't know. Because I feel my lack of height has probably kept me rather humble in certain regards. And it's an interesting point just generally. If certain people were to have certain things, so whether we're talking height, whether we're talking clout or infamy, whether we're talking money, whether we're talking power, for some people, it's probably a good thing that they didn't, and maybe never will get it. Food for thought. Anyways, that's day 1595. I'll catch you tomorrow for day 1596. 23 minutes, wow.